Welcome back to the Neil Marketing Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the 5 principles of ethical leadership.
Welcome to the weekly Neil Marketing Podcast, featuring one half of the Golden Group C-Suite, Kyle Golding, and Pritch Pritchard, APR PRSA Fellow.
Hey, Kyle, how are you this morning?
Fantastic. Good to see you today, Pritch.
Thank you very much. Better to be seen than viewed, I always say.
That's what they say.
So, we spend a lot of time talking and thinking about ethics.
Of course. Very important.
It's extremely important. Today, I thought I'd share a collection of 5 principles of ethical leadership that I've gathered over the course of time, some readings. I wish I could attribute this to one particular article to make it easier on everybody, but it's a collection over time.
Sounds good.
I think it's important to talk about ethical leadership, particularly now, because we do talk a lot about ethics and the practice,
Right.
But if it's not happening at the top
On a daily basis. Yes.
then you've got more trouble than a little bit, as Bum Phillips used to say.
Absolutely.
So the first one, and these may sound just like ridiculously simple, but we forget them.
Well, it's good enough to throw it out there and remind people.
Absolutely. Right? Number 1, respect others.
Sure.
I mean,
it's the golden rule, right?
Exactly. It's our duty to treat others with respect. If you don't listen closely to your teammates as a leader, and I'm not necessarily talking about CEO leader, I'm talking about leadership within the organization.
Sure, there's multiple levels of leadership in every organization,
Absolutely.
Right? Official and unofficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If the leader exhibits respect for the people he or she is working with, those people tend to feel more competent about their work.
Absolutely.
Productivity goes up.
Every time. Pretty
simple. Respect others. Number 2, serve others. Greenleaf did a great deal of work on this in the 50s and 60s. He called it servant leadership, but it's really more than that. It's putting the interest of others above one's own interest.
And that's how you create value in your interest. The rising tide lifts all boats.
But this serving others includes empowering others. It includes being altruistic in our motives. It includes team building. It includes being a good citizen in the organization.
Yeah, it's everything encompassed. And ultimately, that's how you lift those boats with that tide, is everything working in conjunction, right?
The other piece of that is being the steward of the vision.
Right.
Right. Clarifying and nurturing that vision as if it's greater than oneself. Number 3 is be just, concerned with issues of fairness and justice. And there's not enough of that in today's world.
Too many people think that justice and success or profit or things that are called what you are in business for are counter each other, but it's not. They go together, they collaborate.
Right.
You create success for your business by being just, by everyone in the situation. The best business is win-win.
Internally, it's a top priority to treat people equally. We talk a lot about diversity and inclusion. Well, inclusion is that treating everyone equally. It's not giving an advantage to one group over another. When people are treated differently, the grounds for that different treatment have to be clear, they have to be reasonable, and they have to be based on sound moral values. Because sometimes you can't treat everybody exactly the same.
True.
But if you clarify and establish the rules for distributing rewards in particular to reduce or eliminate the conflicts that occur, then you're going to be a whole lot better off.
That makes sense to me.
Number 4, they're honest. Never tell a lie. Duh.
No one ever said, I don't want to work for an honest person.
Right. Exactly. But this exists in 2 conditions. The first is, looking at it from the opposite of honesty, and that's dishonesty. Objectionable outcomes, the foremost of which is distrust. The leader seems unreliable, undependable. People lose faith in what the leader says and stands for. Respect's diminished. I mean, there are just so many negatives to that dishonesty condition that I don't know why people think they can get away with it.
Because they get away with it in very short terms. If you think about, that make $1 today over a dime tomorrow, it seems like from the outside, they're getting rich and they're getting away with it. And so other people want to join in. The truth of the matter is they're sabotaging in a total career, and you're not developing relationships that last for a long time. So what goes up must come down.
Consider one's legacy is what I always remind my students.
And remember, unless you're 99 years old right now,
right.
you're going to live for a long time. You're going to need business success. You need people around you. And you need people to take care of you when you are 99 years old. You have to treat people well on the way up.
Yep.
Because they're going to be there for you on the way down.
That's right. But the second condition is not just telling the truth. It's about being open with others. It's about representing reality as fully and completely as possible. There are times when telling the complete truth can be destructive and counterproductive. The challenge is striking that balance between open and candid while monitoring what's appropriate to disclose. Okay, so don't promise what you can't deliver. Don't misrepresent. Don't hide behind spin. You know how I feel about spin.
You got to be straight up with these things. And in today's age, every small little white lie and every detail that you leave out gets found out. So get in front of it and be upfront with it.
Well, and don't do it in the first place. That's the best defense.
Step one, don't do it.
Don't
Step
do
two,
it.
if you do, because people make mistakes.
Well, sure.
Business is run by people. People make mistakes. It's fine. Own up to that mistake. Move on.
Move on.
If you take too much time avoiding talking about or confiscating that mistake, that's more wasted time because it'll eventually come out. Own it, go on.
Go on. And number 5 may seem strange on this list of principles of ethical leadership, but build community. If leadership is the process of influencing others to reach a common or communal goal, then the leader and the follower must agree on the direction to take the group.
That's how you get places together.
Exactly. So, leaders need to take into account their followers' purposes as well as their own. Concern for the common good means leaders can't impose their will on others. And how many times have you seen a leader impose their will on the followers, the subordinates?
They're called dictators.
Exactly.
And again, no one wants to work for a dictator.
Absolutely not. Ethical leadership demands attention to civic virtue.
Simple enough.
There you go. So that's the 5.
I like that. These are 5 really good conversation starters. Like you said, they're simple, but it's not the end all be all. It's a conversation starter about developing an attitude and a process for business.
Respect others, serve others, be just and fair, be honest, and build community. Those are the 5.
Those 5 are fantastic. I don't think anyone could argue against them. And even if you can incorporate all 5, if you start using a couple of them and move into all 5 eventually, I think it'll work out well for everyone.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. So there you go.
Another great episode of the New Marketing Podcast with fantastic advice from our man, Pritch Pritchard,
Hey.
APR.
Thanks, Kyle.
We'll see you next time.
Join us. Ciao.